Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids and we're back for some more Mardek, and of course last time we were crafting that mithril plate mail, and we have now picked up just about everything, as we were confirming in the previous episode, that we'll want to get from blacksmith. So, let's make a point of teleporting back over to the northern continent, and when we get there, we'll go to Meridor's workshop and see what we can make over there, because bear in mind that when it comes to Legion's items, Meridor's items, we're not getting anything from that blacksmith. So we are going to want to, of course, make a point of picking those things up for Meridor's workbench. And the reason why I held off as long as we did, we did do a little bit of crafting there, but wanted to make sure that we got everything that we wanted to make from the blacksmith using our limited resources like gold and silver, things of that sort, so that way we could make an informed decision as to how exactly we wanted to allocate those limited resources. So now that we know pretty definitively as to just how much gold, silver, and other stuffs we're going to have remaining, we can pick exactly what we want to make. So I always forget as to which one of the workbenches it is. So one moment while I attempt to look at all of these. But you know, it's always the last one, isn't it? Because, oh, we may need Meridor. Tell you what, we currently do not have Meridor in our party, and that probably has something to do with it. So why don't we, at least temporarily, if nothing else, swap you in? And yeah, Eloian, you did pick up the new harp and some new sheet music recently, so we're going to want to put you to use as well. But as of right now, I think we may need Meridor. We go here? No. This one? No. This one? Yes. Okay, so some of the big things that we can do here, let's check it out. Silver Mirror gives 5 defense. It's an invention for use by an inventor, so specifically for Meridor. It's a mirror made from magical crystal, which can be used to give the entire party the physical shield status. So this is one of the reasons why some of the other fairies that we saw that we turned in previously, the one that gave the equipper the physical shield, if we were to, say, use the silver mirror on Meridor, then that would be just much better than the fairy, because it gives everyone the shield versus just the one person equipping the fairy. So it does also give 2 vitality. Notably, it does cost a silver ore. So that's why I didn't just rush to make this, that means that, of course, as we were saying many times before, there's only a certain amount of silver ore, and so you want to be very mindful of the ways in which you're using it. So it might mean that if we have enough silver ore remaining, we'd be willing to do this, but let's confirm as to just how much we have. We have 4. This would take one of them. Light essence, we only have 3 right now, and we could theoretically still use one to make a second shield of light, because I'm not sure if we've done that yet or not. We may not have, so bear that in mind. This one, not out of the question, but may not be at the top of our list. Now, this here being the golden mirror, let's see what the deal is with this one. It's an invention for use by an inventor. It's a mirror made from magical crystal, which can be used to give the entire party the magical shield status. So, in this case, it's physical shield. In this case, it's magical shield. This one costs silver. This one costs gold. Otherwise, they're, well, fairly similar in terms of what they cost. The gold one does also cost a light essence and a golden conch and a canderythope phage crystal. And I'll tell you what, I take it back. This one is much more difficult to make because canderythope are also limited. For that reason, you would need to make a pretty good case, I think, for using the gold mirror. I mean, if we have canderythope and light essence, gold conch, gold ore to spare, then why not? But that's why we're here right now, is to figure out, will we have gold and silver to spare? We'll see. We've made this, the Gasmatic. We've made the Flamethrower, so no reason to make more of those. The Drill-O-Matic. Not looked at that one too closely yet. An invention for use by an inventor. It's a drill mounted on a spear, which can be used to inflict defense-ignoring non-elemental damage to a single foe. 2 defense as well. Gives +1 strength. Costs a sturdy drill, lead pipes, monster fangs, physical runestone, and a golden conch. How many golden conches do we have? Whoa, only 2. So tell you what, that might actually be our most limited resource, come to think of it. I was not quite as protective of them before, I think we have used 1 or 2 thus far, but okay, I'm not necessarily thinking that this is going to be all that impressive, because we do have other people who have similar abilities to this. Slimmic can remove defenses with Perforate, and then we did also see that Legion recently learned an ability that ignores defenses that is also physical elemental. So for that reason, I think this is not so much of a special thing that only Meridor can do, and for that reason we probably do want to pass on this. And unlike things like the Silver Mirror and the Gold Mirror, which at the moment are the strongest candidates, however, like we were saying, the Gold Mirror costs a lot. Sleep-O-Matic is an invention used by an inventor. It sprays out a thick gas which puts all foes to sleep. Now, we saw against, I think it was the fairies, were the ones who applied sleep to everyone in the party. It is catastrophic if everyone in the party goes to sleep, because that means that, well, you can do precisely nothing. And sure, if you attack or use a spell on someone, that does mean that they will presumably wake up immediately thereafter. But if you know that everyone is asleep, you could deliberately spend a bunch of turns doing things like boosting and spirit crafting, making your stats higher, putting on shields, magic shields, regen, all the beneficial statuses, so that when the enemy does ultimately reawake, then you are more than ready to take it out. So that is a little bit tempting. What are the ingredients there? It's a lead pipe, a nightcap, and pixie dust. That, I think, is very straightforward for us to make, so why not? 3 lead pipes. These used to be extremely easy to come by because we could get them from the sewers in Gosnor here, but remember, those are locked off at the moment, so I think we can still get them from some of the rats down in Saul's dungeon, but we don't need that, at least not at the moment. If we found that we were using a bunch of these, then we could go back and pick up more. Nightcap, I think we have some of those. Yup. And then pixie dust. We have those on hand. We have zombie dust. Thought we had pixie dust somewhere as well. It looks quite similar. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So there we have it. Sleep-O-Matic, and truth be told, we might have been able to make this earlier, but it gives Meridor more options. So I think this will be similar to the Gas-O-Matic, of course. What would that be? Primarily for inflicting poison. This one being inflicting sleep. So, okay. Strong options there. Potion spray. Let's check this out. So, an invention used by an inventor. It's a device that turns potion liquid into vapor, which is then sprayed at the entire party, restoring their HP. Okay, so that is significant, because what that means is that this is another thing that is unique to Meridor. It makes it so that you can apply 1 potion to the entire party in 1 turn. And if we're looking at really powerful potions, like, I mean, Nether Queens, sure, but we saw some special ones that are actually for sale in the shop here in Gosnor, the one that's in the Dream Realm. And things like, say, Mirror Elixir, giving everyone a physical and magic shield in 1 turn, when normally that would take 8 turns for Mardek to do that. Or giving everyone null everything in 1 turn. I mean, you get the point. It's really strong. So I think this is a pretty high priority. Let's see what the items are to make it. Takes more lead pipes, mugwort, I think we have that, air essence, leaf of life, and a lot of better potions now. Once upon a time, we had a ton of those. Now, that time was before the Red Dragon fight, so I don't necessarily know how many of those we have remaining. I don't think I made a point of putting them in our inventory, so we could, well, start to stockpile a few. Attack us 2! 28 to go. So we should probably go back and make a point of picking up more of those. Okay, Slinika's 5. So, oh, well, didn't mean to actually heal Zach now. That was not the intention. That gives us 7 total. I think we should be able to buy those from potentially any of a number of places. But let's just see as to how many we have at the moment. Because, like I said, yeah, those were not necessarily crafting ingredients that I was thinking we were going to need on hand. Okay, now we have 30. Let's head back over. So we do, in fact, have enough. And no need to purchase more, fortunately. Don't know as to where exactly we would need to go to make that happen, but I think that was the only other ingredient that we needed. And this is another really strong one that we perhaps should have made a point of picking up earlier. But we certainly do have the ingredients now, and I think we would have had the ingredients previously as well. Because none of this stuff is crazy rare. lead pipes. Like I said, we're going to have a lot of those left over from Chapter 1, even, and Chapter 2. Mugwort, that might have taken a little while for us to start to accumulate those. And then, ooh, hold on a second. Air Essence. We may not have that. We might need to pick that up elsewhere. And I don't know as to whether we have more of it. I was not realizing that that was another ingredient that was something that we needed for this one, because that's another one that, because we haven't gotten into the air temple, we don't have any infinite source of air essence on, like, things like fire, earth, water, darkness, where we could get a bunch of that. So, yeah, everything else does look good there. Let's maybe make a mental note to check back over, see if we can find that elsewhere. As of right now, let's keep on looking at the other things here, and that does mean that we're shifting gears over to things that Legion can equip now. And notably, I think we did make a point of creating the clasping claws previously. The only thing is, this is Legion's starting weapon, so there's not really much point in picking that up. However, if we go to the Hammer Fist, that would be new. Notably, it has 40 attack, which is 10 better than the starting weapon, so definitely better, at least in that sense. They are mechanical arms fashioned into hammers, specifically for bludgeoning use in combat. It does give the plus 20% damage and shield break offensive reaction. Haven't seen that anywhere else, in addition to plus 2 strength and spirit. So that could certainly be worthwhile. Let's take a look at what we need here. Emeralds, we can certainly do that. Fire Essence, like we said, plenty of those. However, that is using much of what we have at the moment. Earth Essence, that's also fine. Physical Runestone. These, I believe, can drop from some enemies in one of the temples. I know that the Witch Doctors in the Earth Temple give the M Runestone. Runestone might be from the Golems in the Earth Temple as well, so again, rare but possible to get more. There's a new item. A better weapon for Legion, and of course we've been using Legion pretty often, so I think that'll be very useful for us. Next weapon, which would be the next best, and the best overall weapon for Legion, would be the Buzzsaw Arm. This requires Gold Ore, Silver Ore, Monster Fang, and Evening Star. So notably, these are some pretty big ticket items. Again, of course, Gold Ore and Silver Ore, those are limited. Evening Star is very rare, but technically not limited. We only have one more at the moment, so this would use the last of them if we were to create this. So, I think we would like to make this happen. Ooh, Monster Fangs. We also can get more of those, yes, but we only have 4 right now. I'm a little bit surprised by that, because those are other items that I would have thought we would have picked up a lot of, because the monsters back in the Dark Temple dropped those, and we could perhaps make it back over there and make a point of picking up a little bit more. So, maybe we just can't make this at the moment. Anyway, let's take a look at the chest plates, though. So copper plating, that is the starting chest plate, so don't focus too much on creating that. Next would be the steel plating, which requires copper plating, so the original one, and then you upgrade it using iron armor, a silver ring, and a golden conch. 3 of those. Again, we only have 2, so at the moment we just flat out could not make that. Okay, so double checked as to whether any enemies will drop more golden conches, and the answer is yes. However, I'm not sure that we have encountered that enemy just yet, so we'll be on the lookout for it, and that is perhaps reason to not be terribly concerned about using all of our gold conches at the moment. It just means that, at least short term, we won't be able to make absolutely everything here, and that would of course include the steel plating. Which is unfortunate, because in order to make the Titan plating, which would be Legion's best chest plate, we do need this as one of the ingredients. That means in terms of chest plate upgrades, we are pretty much locked out by our lack of golden conches. So that does mean that in terms of things we would want to pick up on Legion, the only other additional thing that we could create at the moment would be if we can pick up a little more in the way of Monster Fangs. We could go for the Buzzsaw Arm, but let's just count up the gold and silver ores, because what I was saying before is that now that we know we're done with the Blacksmith and Xanthusia, we can have a better sense of just how many of these are we going to need. So this costs 1 gold and silver. That would bring us down to 4 and 3, respectively. Then the other things that use gold and silver, let's double check. We're talking about perhaps making the silver mirror and a golden mirror, and these cost 1 gold for the gold mirror, and 1 silver for the silver mirror, and also, notably, the Titan plating does require gold and silver and a Canderythope as well. I think the gold mirror does require Canderythope too, so that's another limited resource. Let's just talk. Silver at the moment seems to be the most limited because we have 4 of it, whereas we have 5 gold. That means this would take 1, this would take 2, this would take 3. Does this require any? No. So in terms of silver, we're looking okay, actually. So I don't think there's anything else. Let me just do a quick double check here. That requires the silver. Nothing there. Already made this, already made this. This does not require any, and we may not want to make that. In terms of the weapons, just the big one here. Yeah, that means that we would have enough silver to make everything here. So silver is fine. As for gold, we have 5 remaining. This would cost 1. This would cost 2. That's a golden conch, but not gold ore, so we're fine there. This would cost 3, so we're looking fine there as well. And then, in terms of golden conches, like we were saying, that's something that we're gonna ultimately want to get more of. At the moment, we can't make this silver plating, we can't make this drill-o-matic, but we should be able to make that happen sometime in the future. Ooh, this also requires monster fangs, so all the more reason to farm up a few more of those. Okay, but at the very least, we found that we were able to make several weapons for Meridor, and 1 for Legion. So I think in that way, we were at the very least a little successful, but when we know that we need to pick up more monster fangs, we will need more golden conches. There are other ways to get them, so don't worry too much about that. And as it turns out, gold and silver ore, I think we were mindful enough of how we were using it at the blacksmith in Xantusia that we are going to be in decent shape for using it here at Meridor's workbench. So, okay, so now that we have confirmed what we can and cannot do at Meridor's bench, and the answer is pretty much everything, just not immediately, per se, we could do any of a number of things. We could go and try to pick up the items that we still need. Some of those, I think in the case of the air essence, we were thinking, might we be able to purchase some of those from shops in Aeropolis? Because there were several that were selling essences. I may have already made a point of picking those up, so there's a chance that there aren't any remaining there. Or the other thing we could do is, like we were saying before, try to deliberately go against some of the enemies that are capable of dropping those items. But I think we'll be able to do some of that in the future. So what I want to do now is remember that we did successfully take out all the trilobites, and that was the big thing that we were trying to do for a while, and the thing that was preventing us from going to, say, the arena in Cambria. Of course, that was the big endgame content in Chapter 2. And in some ways it is for Chapter 3 as well, just in addition to a few other things. So, as for Lord Sir Bong Bong McFong Tong, the moderately bonkers, you found and defeated all 6 trilobite warriors? I'm astounded, amazed, flabbergasted, and so on in that approximate order. I will be off now. You are free to enter the arena. Good luck. So we can now go through here. This was, of course, blocked off previously. As for you other trilobite guards, talk to the other guard just there if you want some highly informative information. This is the arena. Thank you. So we were, of course, here, back in Chapter 2. But we'll check it out this time. This is the arena, where you may test your mettle when pitted against many monsters from all over the world. You have to face 20 rounds and cannot heal between them. Sounds hard? You bet it does. So, same idea as last time. Hey there, hello. Up for the tournament too? I feel sort of out of place here with all the smelly blokes all over the place. But I think I can show them that any woman is as strong as any man. Or stronger even. Yeah! Okay, so, whoa, this looks like either a piece of toast or someone in very shiny armor. Prompts McGroggett. All kinds of hardened warriors are here. People who would usually be hostile to each other sit around and chat amicably, ignoring their prejudices. If only the whole world could be like this. You know, that is surprisingly diplomatic. As for Saucer Brother, saw some of these guys way back at the beginning of Chapter 3, in the place where we had the initial crash site. Soon all the world will be fighting and chaos when the saucer folk come down from the skies to judge us. The only way to survive the apocalypse is to be strong, and to worship the saucer gods, of course. Okay, sure. As for this royal guard, hey Mardek, nice to see another from Gosnor here. Good luck to you, but I'm sure you won't need it, eh? I don't know, maybe we will. And a Reptoid made it all the way over here. It seems that some of my kin will be entering this tournament. Seems like a foolish waste of time to me. Where is the honor in defeating others without a real cause? I do not believe in strength for the sake of strength. Fair enough, I suppose. I heard that some Trilobite warriors are participating in this tournament. I bet they won't win because our stupid gatherers get monsters far more powerful than any of us can take. The arena used to be to train our warriors, but we needed to get in other races, adventurers and such, because of how weak we are at our best. I mean, back in Chapter 2, you guys were not bad, but I suppose, well, we've been fighting the Trilobite warriors as well in Chapter 3, and they haven't been pushovers, at least they weren't at the beginning. Oh? You found all the Trilobite warriors? You? Oh. Good. I suppose. Good for you. Yes. Okay, don't overwhelm us with your enthusiasm. As for the Aeropolitan soldier, I came all the way to this underground village of Trilobite things in order to compete in the arena. But let me tell you, no challenge can be as hard as finding those darn Trilobite keys, which I needed to get in here. What obscure places they were hidden in. Who'd ever look there? Okay. Reference back to Chapter 2, I see. Looks like you were looking for those keys as well. As for the Slockian priest, I traveled here with my Aeropolitan friend, even though he is a sunless heathen. The divine might of Solok will triumph in this tournament. We'll see about that. We are guarding this door for some reason. I am a Trilobite guard. Okay, so, of course, we are here in the Trilobite Arena, and we made it partway through the Miasmal Citadel. We'll make a point of going back there. You could make the case as to which one you ought to do first, and I think you could go in either direction. Both will, of course, be difficult. They are both endgame areas. But Gope is here as well. Let's give him a little chat. Taking part in the Arena Challenge, Gal. Best of luck. I know you can win. Thanks, Gope. Want to see me ways, friend? So, of course, it is, well, the same stuff as before. And if we were perhaps trying to pick up more better potions, then this might be a way of doing it. Otherwise, we certainly could use a fair bit of big juices and ethers and remedies and Phoenix Downs, because I'm still not necessarily sure we've made a point of replenishing those after we went through the Red Dragon fight. Maybe we've been able to scrabble together a few of them, but probably worth just going a little crazy there and spending, well, much of the coins we have remaining at this point. Other than that, let's just speak to the person running this place, the clerk. Welcome to the arena. Here you can participate in tournaments, where you battle hordes of monsters and maybe other adventurers in our special battle cave to win fabulous prizes. Are you interested? So, notably, we have a few options here. We have either the champion tournament or a survival tournament. So that's a little bit different. Not entirely sure what the difference between those two is. Can you explain further, perhaps? There are two kinds of tournaments. There's the single champion tournament, which has 20 rounds. You can enter a party of up to 4 competitors in this, but you can only participate once. Okay, that would suggest that perhaps if we don't succeed the first time, then there's no second chances? I mean, then again, technically speaking, any game over is a conclusive game over, and then we'd have to reload an old save in order to load back into the game, so maybe that's not a huge thing, but anyways, the other tournament, the survival one, can only be entered by one of your people at a time, but each one of them can participate once. The monsters will be different for each competitor, playing to their unique strengths and weaknesses, and chances are you'll get a good item for that person at the end of the 10 rounds. finish with all characters get a super special prize. So this is new to Chapter 3. Of course, in Chapter 2, the only version of the arena was one in which we had our entire party participating and fighting for 20 rounds. At the end, we fought the World Saviors were the final opponents, and once we successfully completed that, we got the Champion Sword, which was the best sword for Mardek and Vern. This time, we have the option of, yes, doing that same type of thing that we did last time, having a full party, 20-round battle, but we also have the option of doing an individual tournament in which we have one party member go at a time. They go through 10 rounds, and it is just them. Same thing. No breaks in between rounds. You go straight from one battle to the next. So that is a different and perhaps, arguably, even more challenging setup because, yes, as the description here says, it does emphasize even more specific characters' strengths and weaknesses because remember, in the past, we've always had Mardek in our party, and he's always been able to do things like heal, put on shields, morality blocks even, and now in Chapter 3 he has had access to any type of elemental attack. So if we remove Mardek, and of course everyone else from the equation and are just going one character at a time, then I think we'll find that there are some enemies that can counter people pretty effectively. So it's an interesting strategic challenge in that sense, in that you have to find ways to cover for those weaknesses while still emphasizing those character strengths. So that is the description there. Are we interested? Yes. However, I think we'll probably want to make a point of, well, gearing ourselves up specifically for this purpose, either as a whole party for the party version of the challenge, or for individual characters for their own individual arenas. So, I think as of right now, the answer is probably no, so bugger off then. But that is one of the reasons why I was making such a big deal about us picking up things like the Yellow Fairy, because you might have been thinking to yourself, sure, Vids is making a big deal about getting auto haste so that one character can go twice, but still, it's just one character in a party full of 4 characters, so in the grand scheme of things, it's not a huge deal. Yes and no. I mean, it is still a pretty big deal, even when you have the full party, but imagine when you have just one character going in those individual arena runs, that means that you are going twice as often as you would normally go, so it is a real game changer in that sense. Also, the health scarab that we picked up, that I believe I may have thrown on Eloise, so it's not in our inventory at the moment, but we'll give that a quick look just to remind you as to what that's all about. This guy here, the Scarab of Health, high defense, magic defense from accessory item, as well as auto regen, vitality, little bit of resistances for a bunch of statuses. Throw that on, and the Yellow Fairy, and suddenly you have one character who can do a lot of things with no setup because you start the battle with the regen, you start the battle with the haste. So for that reason, we might find that perhaps in several rounds of the personal arenas, we might opt to go with the combo of Scarab of Health plus Yellow Fairy, and that is why I wanted to make a point of not turning in the Yellow Fairy when we were at the Fairy Village. So I'm not necessarily sure if we want to go with the full party version or the individual person version of the arena first, but either way, as I said, I think we're going to want to reevaluate what our current items and skills are, because of course it does mean that, well, if there are new items that we want to make sure we put on, or skills that we have yet to master, then this is the time when we want to make sure that we absolutely have those. So definitely some catching up to do in that regard. We'll have to take a closer look, so I'll give that one some more thought, and then next time, let the games begin.